Broadcasting live from SETI Alpha 6 in the Andromeda Galaxy, this is Mr. C.
Well, happy downhill day to you all. You need LS1 out, and I think it probably says it up on the board as part of your do nows. This baby right here, that is going to be your friend this week. I'll get to more on that in a little bit, but a good percentage of Friday's test is going to come from this lesson summary. I don't know, maybe 15 points, maybe 12, 15 points. So you want to do really well marking this up. Notice how I have used a highlighter. I recommend it. Highlighter, pen, get ready to write. So get ready to mark that up. So if you'll do that. Now, this week's test. Here we are, Wednesday already, so you're going to have homework tonight. Your homework tonight is going to be this worksheet, which hopefully you'll have a little bit of time to work on at the end of the period. This is worksheet 9F. 9 stands for the page. So, and it covers pages 5 through 9. So if you want to put that in your lesson planner right now, homework, R for the test, and then complete worksheet 9F from pages 5 through 9. Do you notice how I put pages 5 through 9 at the top? I recommend you do that. What a cool camera. That's a neat camera that is working with the computer. And do you notice how I have, what's that, Mr. C? What does that mean? You have page numbers right there. Yeah, here's the way this works. So the answers to these questions are on pages 5 through 9. So in the margin beside each one, I want you to put the page number verifying where you found the answer. Oh, Mr. C, why would you do that? What do you think? You don't think some of my students in the past have just guessed, do you? Yep. So it's to prevent you from guessing. Now, if there are no page numbers, it's automatically going to be a -1 and maybe even -2. If it's -2, that's going to be 20%. So before we even grade it, the best you can do is 80%. So page numbers in the margin beside where you found the answers. Did you put that in your lesson planner? Page numbers? Were you even paying attention when I said page numbers in the margin where you found the answers in your textbook? Okay, let's just see, I got it. You went over it like 400 times. Okay, so I got over it, or you got it. Anyway, have a look. So here's your verse sheet. And can you hold it steady? I don't know, maybe. The ones I have highlighted are the 2 you're going to write this week. Did you notice no Genesis 1:26 this week? Keep reviewing it, though. You will see it again in the future. Genesis 1:26, future weeks. This week, though, John 1:1 through 3. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. In other words, Jesus was with the Father. Jesus was the Word. Through him all things were made, and without him nothing was made that has been made. And we're not talking about man-made objects, but all the stuff on the earth, all the living things, the planet, the way it's made, the universe actually, made by Jesus. So you're going to write that. Now, how much is that going to be worth? And then you're going to write Psalm 139:13 and 14. For you, Jesus, you formed my inward parts. You knitted me, some translations say weaved, So whatever, it's a figure of speech. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. Now, did Jesus really do that? Yeah, you're formed in your mom's womb, right? Except what does the knitting? DNA. The DNA that Jesus gave you. So you knitted me together in my mother's womb, and because of that high level of complexity, and I praise you, and for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. What does fearfully mean? Awesomely. Awesomely. Wonderfully made is a good synonym, and they're both used. Wonderful are your works. Who's the wonderful work? Point to yourself. Me. I'm the wonderful work. And my soul knows it very well. By the way, when I first discovered this verse when I was about 20, 21, I went, you know what? There is no excuse for me to feel like I am not highly valued by God. Oh my, am I highly valued? Because He designed me. Me. You. Your own design. He was so careful with each of us. He gave us our own design. How special is that? Big deal. Really special. So, wonderful are your works, and my soul knows it very well. And then, what does it mean? I already had you write on your verse sheet. You should have written on your verse sheet. What does it mean? God, D word, designed me by using my D word, DNA. Designed with DNA. So, how many points on the test are those verses and meanings worth? 6 points. Ooh. So if it's a 30-point test, that means 20% of it is those verses and meaning. Ooh. Some of you haven't quite dialed those in yet. I'd get after them if I were you. You know? You've got time. It's Wednesday, so hopefully you'll review some tonight. Now, if there's 36 points, which there could be, I haven't made the test up yet. More likely 30, but if it is 36 points, then those verses are worth 18%. Close enough, Mr. C. 20, 18, close enough. Okay, then I have a scientific method problem for you to think about, and I'm going to give you on Friday's test 6 to 8 points on the scientific method. So you've got the verses, 6 points on the meaning, and then minimum 6 points on the scientific method, but maybe even 8. So if it's 8, it's 14 points so far. That's almost half the test right there on the verses and the scientific method. So here's one example for just a minute. Let's say the early astronomers during the Renaissance started to discover planets, and they did. And then they go, here's the problem. What do the different planets look like? So, and they're making drawings of them as they look at them through their early telescopes. So they have a look at the planets, and then they make drawings of them. So the hypothesis is, let's say they have a hypothesis, an educated scientific guess, that they're all spheres. That would be one hypothesis. Okay? And let's say they had another hypothesis that they all had atmospheres. They were all made of gases. Are they? No. Some of them are almost atmosphere-less. They don't have an atmosphere. Almost. Don't have any. We'll get to all of that when we do the specifics. Itchy head. When we do the specifics of the planets. So anyway, so we'll keep going with this scientific method hypothetical. So what are the variables controlled? Same telescope. Let's say the same astronomer. Okay, and he's spending the same amount of time to determine what each of the planets look like. Okay, and he uses the same art materials to do the drawing. Okay, getting carried away a little bit. But all those same ones, those are the variables controlled. Keep the same. I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to give you a hypothetical problem just like this. Okay? And what's the one variable that's not controlled? The different planets. Okay? And that's what they're studying. And then the drawings end up being the diary step. Data, right? Diary, data. And then you finally can make some conclusions based on your data. So anyway, the scientific method, 6 to 8 points. So anyway, it'll be there. Okay, so I've already told you about your homework, about what to review. Now we've got to get after it on this lesson summary. Remember how I said these are bars of gold? You've got to hang on to these. Where are you going to put them so you won't lose them? Because this is a study guide for Friday's test, isn't it? Along with your Bible verse sheet and anything you write in your journal. So today, you're going to mostly write on this and not in your journal. Okay. All right. First, this is LS1, the sky from Earth. Now it says, on a clear night, you can see a bunch of stars. Duh. But depending on where you are, if you're down here in Phoenix, you're not going to see as many. If you're up in the mountains, say in the White Mountains, when we used to go to Luna Lake near Alpine, there's no light pollution at all up there. So my goodness, could you see stars and everything else. It was unbelievably gorgeous. One of the most beautiful night skies I've ever seen at Luna Lake near Alpine, way in far eastern Arizona. We used to have a church camp that we'd go up to every August. And sometimes we'd be there during the Perseid meteor shower. And we saw some beauties up there. It was so cool. Well, it says on a clear night you can see stars, the moon, planets, meteors, satellites. So anyway, you've got to know these terms. Now look what I've highlighted. I've circled these and highlighted them. You need to as well. So I'm going to give you the words in the top box and then in the bottom box what to highlight, and then I'll explain what they are. Okay? So we're doing well, and I've got to teach you a couple of chunks of stuff. So, and do you notice? Hey, my favorite model. I know you've missed it. So it's coming back. I'm going to use it in a little bit. Okay? So make sure you've circled these or highlighted these. In the top box, satellite. Planet. This is on the left side, right? Over here. LS1. Meteor. And over on the right side up here, comet, star, constellation. Okay? Got them? I'll go over those one more time in a minute. And down below, it's in dark print where it says the apparent motion of objects in the sky depends on the motions of Earth. And we're going to go into a little bit more detail. Okay, first. So, first thing I want to show you is a satellite. And a satellite is just a space body that orbits a planet. So in this case, what is it? The moon. Going around the planet Earth. Okay, so satellite. So highlight that all the way across. A body that orbits a planet. We've only got one satellite. Jupiter and Saturn have 60 plus. Woo! So they've got a bunch of satellites, aka moons. Okay, next, a planet. A planet orbits a star. In our case, our star, our own personal star that Jesus gave us, the sun. So, Earth orbiting the sun and all the other planets as well. Now, up there on the south side, I have the drawing of all the planets. You can see them. Those are all the planets in the solar system that orbit the sun. Solar system. Sol means sun. The sun system. It's the sun plus all of its planets and the moons or satellites that go around the individual planets. Okay? So right now I'm not going to have you write down solar system. All right, let's keep going. A meteor, you already know what it is. A meteor usually is dust size, and often they're leftovers from comets, like I told you about the Perseid meteor shower back in August. And they encounter the Earth's atmosphere and burn right up. And you just see a streak. And they're traveling tens of thousands of miles an hour. And because of that, when they hit the atmosphere, there's a lot of friction. And with friction, you get HEAT, and they burn up. They vaporize. So that's a meteor. Right below it, I wrote meteorite. Right below it. Is it going to focus? Meteorite. And a meteorite starts off as a meteor, hits the atmosphere, and then it's big enough so there's still something left over. Pardon me, my voice, allergies. So there's something left over from the meteor, the original meteor, and that hits the Earth. So, and that's why it's called a meteorite, because it hit the Earth. So meteor, meteorite, because it hit the Earth. There's something left over. Meteorite. So write down meteorite. It's just meteor with ITE at the end. Just leftovers that hits the Earth. Okay. Meteorite. And then you've got comet. I showed you a comet in August. We had a comet. Actually, it was in the night skies at the start of school. What do you get with a comet? You have an icy head that's got embedded dust and little bits of rock. So you've got an icy head, and then my arm is kind of like the tail. Head, icy head, and then the gas is streaming out behind in a long tail that often will go millions of miles into space. A comet. So you ought to be seeing a picture of a beautiful comet right now. So comets are beautiful. I've seen maybe 2 beauties, just real beauties, in my lifetime. They're pretty rare. And when you see a really nice one night after night, you realize, hey, really rare. This is a gift. You don't normally see beautiful comets. So, and then we've got a star, just a hot ball of gas, like our sun. A giant ball of hot gas. And you don't have to know right now what they're made of. When we study the sun, we'll study that. Our sun is mainly made of H and He. H for the element hydrogen and He for helium. You can see them up on the periodic table of the element chart, back of the room on the left side. So H and He. But I'm not going to ask you that. I mean, that would be a good bonus question if I remembered, but I probably won't. Then you've got constellation, and notice what it says, a pattern or group of stars. So it's where people on Earth look up at a pattern of stars, and they look like something familiar on Earth. So that would be a constellation. Like you saw Cygnus the swan, Ursa Major the bear, Cassiopeia the beautiful queen. Now we think it looks like a W. So, or you might look up in the night sky and go, hey, is that Mr. C? That looks like Mr. C up there. You know, I think a constellation in my honor would be kind of cool. You know, wouldn't you like to have a constellation in your honor? Or not? So anyway, just a star pattern that looks like something that we're familiar with on Earth. And then over here you've got the apparent motion of objects in the sky depends on the motions of the Earth. And here's the way it works. Okay, I'm pointing toward the east. That's east, the way I'm sitting in the bunker. Okay, there's east. So tonight, all the objects in the night sky are going to appear, they're going to look like they're moving across the sky from east to west. The apparent motion. And that's what it says right there in your lesson summary, so you're highlighting it. But it's only because the Earth they're moving like this because the Earth is spinning like that. So since the Earth is rotating west to east, they look like they're moving the opposite way. Does that make sense? So the Earth is rotating on its axis, west to east, so they look like they're moving. It's apparent. They're not really moving like that. They just look like they are. It's the Earth doing the moving, and they rise and set. Look like they rise and set. But they don't actually. Is that weird? It's because of the Earth's turning away. It's as the Earth turns toward them, they look like they're coming that way, and then as it turns away, they look like they go down. Okay? The apparent motion in that bottom box. Okay. Now, I've got to hustle. Tomorrow, I'm going to go over a couple of other main points, but now I've got to review with you and then turn you loose on your homework. And I have just enough time to review with you. Okay? Now, you know, Mr. G and I are working it out so you can get up once a week. Now, who knows? If you guys are super as far as your behavior and your responsible approach to this activity, then who knows, it might end up being twice a week for 6 minutes, say. Like on Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. I don't know. You're going to have to impress us. So you've got to really look good. Okay? Like you get right back to the cubby you're working in, the A, B, C, D cubby, or the WC cubby, or WC area. And you get with it right away. You don't talk to other people. You don't share answers at all. You don't touch anything. You follow the no-touch rule. So we have to because of COVID. Please work really hard at it. So anyway, and then you right away sit back down when you're through. You don't start talking to neighbors. You sit right back down and get going on your homework. You know, you're really cooperative, in other words. That's what we're looking for. And remember, no sharing answers at any time while you're doing it or later or on the internet. You could cheat us, but your conscience is going to bother you. The Lord's going to get after you in your conscience. I don't like that when that happens. So I'm just saying. So be honest with us. We're trusting you on that. Okay? So anyway, I want you to enjoy it. I'm going to try in the future to have additional ones. Next week there'll be some that involve the microscope. Really? Yep. There'll be some microscopic things to look at. So anyway, that'll be cool. Yeah, it will be cool. So, and eventually I'm going to have you read the balances, read some weights on the balance. Now you can't actually manipulate the balances. You could in a normal year, but not this year. So you'll just have to look at the balance and get the actual weight without touching the balance. How many grams is that object weigh that's on the pan? Anyway, things that are coming up in the future. So again today, so this should be even numbered folks. Yesterday was odd numbered folks. So the odd numbered folks, you're just going to start working straight away on your homework, and you evens are going to get up on Mr. Gilbert's direction at his command, and you're going to walk briskly back and get working right away on 2 questions in your journal on the appropriate page. The A page, the B page, the C page, the D page, or the WC page. Okay? Work hard at it. impress us. I will see you tomorrow. Hard to believe, on Thursday already. Tomorrow. All right, go get 'em, Tigers. So when Mr. Gilbert says. So see you tomorrow.